to welcome back to the program Alex Pareene, contributing editor at The New Republic, co-host of the podcast, The Politics of Everything. Alex, good to see you.
Good to see you. Great to be here.
Hey, Alex.
You're actually looking very healthy.
You sound so surprised, Sam.
I know.
Wow.
Sometimes, but there's something, I don't know.
Well, you just asked me if I watched the Republican debate last night, and I didn't. And maybe that's
it
just
wasn't
an
last
indication.
night. So
exactly. There you go.
There you go.
So there you go. So it might just be an indication that I'm living a healthier lifestyle.
There you Well, that's true, actually. It's good to remember you coming in for a debate or two.
Yeah.
And that was definitely not good for you, healthy-wise. I have to say that we all overindulge during these debates. It's really the only way to get through it.
Yeah.
But with that said, you didn't watch the debate, but I'm sure you've seen how earth-shattering the implications of that debate have been on the body politic afterwards. It's completely upended the race.
Yeah, that's right. We're living, there's a before and after the debate political universe, and we're living after it right now.
After the pivot.
That's the thing, is that what you missed was News Nation introducing it as the pivotal fourth debate. And we should say that apparently there's now going to be 2 more debates.
Oh, yeah.
Or at least that have been announced. You probably did not hear that because they seem like completely irrelevant.
No, I know.
They must be, there must be enough ratings that some of these outlets are interested in doing it.
It's kind of like how they relaunch the USFL every few years. They're like,
exactly.
It's not going to get NFL numbers, but we got to put something. It's football. People are going to turn it on. The biggest gamblers and freaks will turn it on.
Bingo, nailed it. And but what I find fascinating about the debates is that you have 4 people up there, none of whom, if Donald Trump passed away tomorrow, or was jailed, and then passed away, or vice versa. I mean, It doesn't matter how you sequence it. None of these people are going to be the nominee. They have all proven one thing, it seems, during these debates, that they can't be the nominee. Yeah. There's nothing that says that, I would imagine, within the context of the Republican bylaws, that they can't just show up at the convention and get nominated.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that's it is. You do wonder, like, I don't know. I mean, you don't wonder why these 4 are doing it, but I think you're totally right. Like, they're not, there's no path. So I don't really know I don't exactly know what the purpose of the exercise is.
Well, it's easy to understand. From my perspective, I think it's pretty easy. Like, Ron DeSantis just made a huge miscalculation.
Right. Yeah.
And he has no political instincts, and he realizes now he should have waited. Maybe he thought that he couldn't afford to wait until 2028.
Yep.
And then Chris Christie is just looking for some type of commentating job.
Yep.
Vivek he's like, why not?
Yeah.
He has $700, $800, $900 million. If he want, he's a young man, and it opens some doors for him, I guess, in some ways. It sounds like he's having fun. Yeah. And then Nikki Haley, I think, thinks that she has a future in the Republican Party, and apparently so don't the Koch network.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Yeah, and she's been positioned as that for years now, as a future star of the GOP. But if you get the Kochs behind you, get the Koch money behind you, that can go a long way. But I think that there's not a lot of sort of genuine grassroots enthusiasm exactly behind that.
You know what gets in the way a little bit for her is like the whole woman thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the whole woman thing, and I do think to some extent, in the US, like, it could be the case, as it has been elsewhere, like in the UK, that like our first our first female head of state will be a psycho right winger for that reason. Like I can conceive of that being the case for similar reasons why it happened with Thatcher. But I think at the same time, you're right. In this climate, the Republicans are not like psyched about supporting any woman.
Do you think though that I understand that she thinks that she has a future in the Republican Party, and then maybe she, she thinks that she has to maintain her bona fides with the establishment of the Republican Party, and then could somehow tack more MAGA in the future. But the fact is, it feels like there's a delusion that the old Republican Party is going to come back.
Yeah.
And it's one thing to, I guess, maybe just like the Koch network, wants to maintain enough influence in the existing Republican Party to, cut taxes and to get rid of regulation. But that's it. I mean, here's an interesting thing. We played this during the debate, but I'd like to play it now because the first thing that happened, and I had seen this clip just before the debate, and Ron DeSantis brought it up. And now that I think about it, I had seen this debate from that guy, Bill Mitchell. Do you remember him?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Bill Mitchell he was a huge Trump fanatic.
Yeah.
And now he's a huge Ron DeSantis fanatic.
Mm-hmm.
And free agent fanatic sort of thing.
Exactly. And he played this clip earlier in the day, which leads me to now it just occurs to me, of course he did, because the DeSantis people knew that DeSantis was going to open with this and he wanted it out there. But this is what DeSantis hit Nikki Haley with at the beginning of the debate. And then, of course, she backed off it and claimed that she didn't do it and that she really did hate trans and gay people, essentially. But here is this clip.
Madam Ambassador, another question is what care should be on the table when a 12-year-old child in this country, assigned female at birth, says, actually, I feel more comfortable living as a boy. What should the law allow the response to be?
Well, I think the law should stay out of it, and I think parents should handle it.
Madam.
And the bill,
simple.
what was,
Yeah.
The Bill Mitchell caption wasn't there, but it was like basically being critical of her, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Digging a hole deeper every day.
I think he said this is disqualifying for a Republican candidate. And it probably is.
No, it is.
But I think like the Koch brothers don't care so much about the culture wars unless they need to. And she virtually backed off of that whole thing during the debate. But it was interesting how damaging the idea of like the Koch brother libertarian don't have the government involved.
Yeah, no, I know. And that's actually, I think even just rhetorically, libertarianism has never been deader in the GOP than it is right now. Like even rhetorically, I think it was always the embrace of libertarianism was always cynical and complete BS, considering that their support for the police state and endless war. But even there's no more. You're not even allowed to rhetorically nod to it anymore. It's just, there's no interest.
Well, what's your view then of their kind of the House Republicans and some in the Senate now, their reticence to send more aid to Ukraine? That's a little bit more like isolationist at the very least.
Yeah, and I think that's right, because I think again, part of whatever on the right now, there's an embrace of internationalism in the sense of the international far right. Like that's, quite popular to embrace that. But I think that the Trump-esque pseudo isolationist tone, which a lot of Republicans are still getting used to, but I do think that's what we're seeing basically in that kind of positioning.
But do you think that you can even like call it an ideological sort of, I guess, component, or like I don't even think you can pull that far out from it. It just so happens that like somebody said don't send to Ukraine.
Yeah.
That pulled a decent amount in certain Republican circles.
Yeah.
I mean, because none of them are saying deny Israel aid.
Right.
And so there's no Like the idea that this is like isolationist or even anti-war or it's just simply seems to be this random thing. It could have been anything else, and it happened to be this, and this stuck, and that's it. And
yeah,
you know,
I mean, I think it's pretty nakedly just like partisan in that like Joe Biden wants this, so we don't. But yeah, I mean, I think you're right. But I think that it's there is no coherent ideology to it beyond that sort of cynical performance you're talking about, and certainly like the isolationism, even that is about as fake as a libertarianism was, because as you say, like they're not going to oppose sending tons of money to Israel or and things like that. Like that's still like not on the table for something Republicans are going to come out against.